Joaquin Raphael Phoenix was born on October 28, 1974, in San Juan, Puerto Rico, into a family unlike any other in Hollywood, a family defined not by wealth or stability, but by constant movement, uncertainty, and an almost spiritual rejection of conventional life, as his parents John Lee Bottom and Arlen Dunitz were deeply involved in the Children of God religious movement during the early years of Joaquin's life, traveling constantly through South America and the United States as missionaries, raising their children outside of traditional systems of education and structure, which meant Joaquin grew up without normal routines, formal schooling, or a sense of permanence, but instead developed intense emotional awareness, adaptability, and vulnerability at a very young age, qualities that would later become the core of his acting power. And when the family eventually broke away from the cult in the late 1970s, they adopted the surname Phoenix as a symbol of rebirth, settling in Los Angeles with almost nothing, forcing Joaquin and his siblings to contribute financially, leading them into child performance, not for fame but survival. And while his older brother River Phoenix quickly emerged as a generational talent and Hollywood's golden boy, Joaquin grew up in his shadow, watching River navigate fame with discomfort and moral conflict, an experience that shaped Joaquin's complicated relationship with celebrity, pressure, and identity. And as a child actor, Joaquin appeared in television shows and small roles. But even early on, his performances carried an intensity that felt heavier than his age, as if he was processing emotions far beyond childhood. Yet nothing could prepare him for the defining trauma of his life. The night of October 31st, 1993, when his brother River Phoenix collapsed outside the Viper Room in Los Angeles after a drug overdose, dying at just 23 years old. A moment that shattered Joaquin's world forever, especially because Joaquin himself made the emergency call that night, a recording that was later leaked to the public, trapping his grief inside global scrutiny, forcing him to mourn privately while the world consumed his pain as spectacle. An experience that drove Joaquin away from Hollywood entirely, retreating into isolation, guilt, and silence, questioning whether acting, fame, or public life had any meaning at all. And for years he remained emotionally broken, carrying survivors, guilt, anger, and unresolved grief that would later bleed into his performances, because Joaquin Phoenix did not return to act unhealed. He returned fractured, and that fracture became his greatest strength. And when he slowly re-emerged in the mid-1990s, he chose roles that were dark, uncomfortably, and morally complex, rejecting the traditional path of leading in stardom, appearing in films like To Die For in 1995, where his quiet intensity contrasted sharply with the polished performances around him, followed by projects like Inventing the Abbotts and U-Turn, each role revealing a man drawn not to likability, but truth. And his career reached a new level in 2000 with Gladiator, where his portrayal of the emotionally unstable Emperor Commodus stunned audiences and critics alike, earning him his first Academy Award nomination and redefining villainy not as evil for spectacle but insecurity weaponized by power. A performance so disturbing that Joaquin later admitted it terrified him, yet it cemented his reputation as one of the most fearless actors of his generation. And despite newfound recognition, Joaquin refused to become predictable, continuing to choose roles that explored identity, control, and inner collapse, starring in Signs, The Village, and later Walk the Line in 2005, where he embodied Johnny Cash with such emotional rawness that it earned him a Golden Globe and another Oscar nomination. Yet even success did not bring peace, as Joaquin struggled deeply with anxiety, depression, and a profound discomfort with public attention, culminating in one of the most misunderstood chapters of his life. His apparent breakdown and public withdrawal from acting beginning in 2008, when he announced he was quitting acting to pursue a rap career, appearing disheveled and erratic in interviews, particularly on Late Show with David Letterman, a period widely mocked and criticized, only later revealed to be an elaborate performance art project for the film I'm Still Here, a social experiment exploring celebrity perception, media manipulation, and identity erosion, though the backlash from that era left lasting scars, reinforcing Joaquin's distrust of fame and press. And yet once again he returned stronger, delivering one of the most haunting performances of his career in The Master in 2012. A film that felt less like acting and more like emotional exposure, followed by Her in 2013, where he portrayed loneliness, vulnerability, and emotional dependence with heartbreaking authenticity. proving that masculinity on screen did not require dominance, only honesty. And then came Joker in 2019, a role that felt like destiny rather than casting, as Joaquin physically transformed, losing extreme weight and emotionally descending into one of the darkest characters ever portrayed in mainstream cinema, grounding author Fleck, not in madness alone, but in abandonment, trauma, and societal neglect. A performance that resonated globally, sparked controversy, debate, and reflection, and ultimately earned Joaquin Phoenix the Academy Award for Best Actor in February 2020. A moment that felt less like victory and more like acknowledgement of decades of emotional labor. And in his acceptance speech, Joaquin used the platform not for self-celebration, but advocacy, speaking passionately about compassion, inequality, environmental responsibility, and forgiveness, reflecting the values that guided his life far more than awards ever could. And beyond acting, Joaquin lives deliberately outside Hollywood norms, maintaining a private life, embracing veganism, environmental activism, and social justice, partnering with Rooney Mara, with whom he shares a deep intellectual and emotional bond, and becoming a father, a role that grounded him in ways fame never could. And today, Joaquin Phoenix stands not as a conventional movie star, but as an artist who uses pain as language, silence as strength, and vulnerability as power. A man who never chased fame, yet reshaped cinema by refusing to hide his humanity, proving that greatness does not come from comfort but from confronting what hurts most. And if you stayed till the end of this story, then remember this. Joaquin Phoenix didn't succeed because he was fearless. He succeeded because he faced fear head-on and kept going anyway. And if this journey moved you even a little, don't scroll away. Like this video to support real storytelling. Subscribe for more complete Hollywood life journeys, and comment below which Joaquin Phoenix performance impacted you the most. Because some stories don't entertain you, they change you.